Nigeria hasn't always justified the faith of its people, but there comes a time when you are pushed to the wall. Nigeria hasn't always justified the faith of its people, but there comes a time when you are pushed to the wall and there's nowhere to go but up.
If we just decide in our hearts that we want to believe in Nigeria and we want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
This is our dream, and a new Nigeria is that dream that we so much seek and desire.
The destiny of Nigeria is in our hands. We are the country. The country is us.
We are Nigeria.
We are that turning point generation. We are Nigeria. We are the future.
We are the future. We are the dream. We are the nation. We are part of this. Yes, we are so amazing. That's the least we shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run to, we have nowhere else to go. So get out of the way of the land of our dreams. We are the nation, we are part of this. Oh, oh. We are the nation, we are part of this. Whoa, carry the song, carry the sound. The future is here. The future is here. Goodbye yesterday, tomorrow is now for the taking. The future is here. The future is here. I am the future. I am the future. I am the dream. Whoa, I am the nation. I am part of this. Yes, I am so amazing. That's the least I shall be. The least I shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run, nowhere else to run to, nowhere else to go. So hey, I am the land of my dreams. Oh, I am the nation. I am part of this. So get out of the way of the land of my dreams. I am the nation, I am part of this. Whoa, carry the song, carry the sound. The future is here. The future is here. Goodbye yesterday, tomorrow is now for the taking. The future is here. The future is here. Raise your hands in the air if you believe the future has come now. The future is here. The future is here. This is all, this is all, this is all our dream. The future is here. The future is here. The future has come.
The future is not a time zone that is yet to come. The future is everything that we can be but have not yet become. The future is everything that we can do but have not yet done. The future is here. The future is now. So go ahead and deliver the future because you can, because you must. And together we will.
Hello, I'm excited to welcome you to Raising Girls Weekly for December 4th. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to welcome you once again all the way from anywhere you're joining from, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're joining from. I'd like you to just do me a quick favor. Please leave me your name and tell me where you're joining in from. I'd just like to know where people are joining from tonight. Welcome, Dim Bim Cakes. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Favored B, for always hanging out here. Thank you, Oluchi 1C, for joining. Pure Radiance, thank you for joining, sis. Let me know where you guys are joining in from. Leave me a comment. Hello. All right. So, hey, Vivian, you're welcome. Thank you for all the people you've tagged to be a part of tonight's show. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be here. I love coming out here on Friday night. Okay, so I'm seeing Coco Calabar. All right, thank you so much, sis, for coming in tonight. I promise you it's going to be worth your time. In the meantime, if you're watching from any handle on Facebook, please click on the link on StreamYard. That link will give me permission to be able to see your name. Welcome, boss. King Leo, I'm excited to see you here tonight. Tonight's show is interesting. I've been waiting all week for tonight's show. All right. You know, it's just been bubbling in my heart to come out to share tonight. So let me hear what people are joining in from. I can see Calabar here. People are coming from my home. Exciting to see people join. I see Pure Radiances all the way on Instagram joining in from Abuja. Thank you for coming in tonight, sis. So leave me a comment. Let me know where you're joining in from. I'm excited to welcome you here tonight. I'm excited to welcome you here tonight. So it's been a very long week. This week has been super interesting. Ziva is in the building, the queen of the best Greek yogurt in Abuja, and one of the finest granolas. Yeah, welcome, sis, for always giving me a good trip. So we have Dim Bim Cakes joining in from Aberdeen in Scotland. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, sis, for making the time to come out here tonight. So we have Calabar, we have Abuja, we have Aberdeen. Where are you joining in from? Wherever you are, leave a comment. Let us know where you're joining in from. Our Instagram farm always bubbling, always hot. Thank you so much for coming out again. Tonight we have a very interesting conversation we're going to be having. I want you to be right about here, ears open, get ready to ask as many questions as possible. I promise to keep it as practical. I promise to make it really fun. I want to start tonight thanking everyone who's made a day to be here tonight and people who keep coming every week. I want to also thank people who keep tagging friends, inviting friends to join this live stream every week. All right. So it's exciting to be out here once again. This week has been a very interesting week for me, full of so many emotions at the same time. My voice is a bit husky tonight because I lost it during the week, but I just told myself, anyhow it is, by Friday, we're going to do this, and it's okay. I'm grateful to God to be able to be out here tonight, to be able to do this. We had some milestones achieved at work this week, and I'm just grateful to God and to friends who's been hanging in there supporting our work at the North Culinary Day School. But tonight is for girls. Again, I have to remind myself that this night is for girls, and we're going to be talking sweet stuff about raising the 10 over 10 girls. So are you ready for tonight? If you're ready, I want to see it in the comment section. Irene, I am ready to have this conversation. I want to see it in the comment section. I want to see it in the comment section. I like to think that tonight's session is one of those very core conversations I want to be having in the line of my work. Is like the signature conversation. So it's going to be worth your while. I want you to watch and also catch replay, share with friends, share with family, and let as many people raising girls as possible to watch tonight's replay. It's going to be really worth it. So you can catch the replay from our link in bio. From our IGTV on Instagram. You can catch it on our YouTube channel, Raising Girls with Irene Bangwell. You're going to be able to catch the replay if you're watching it from inside Parenting Champions Community with Irene Bangwell. So I'm going to make sure the replay is there. Just help do me a favor. Keep sharing this video because tonight's conversation is really serious. Tonight's conversation is the core of my work as a Raising Girls coach. Tonight's conversation is an anchor conversation that will define a lot of things. So I want you to please do me a favor. Watch replay again. Share with friends, get as many people as possible to watch this. And there's so many channels with which you can watch. You can watch on Instagram, on our IGTV right after the show, on our YouTube channel, on Parenting Champions community group on Facebook. You'll also be able to watch it on my personal page, Irene Bangwell, Raising Girls Coach. So whatever happens tonight, this is going to be a conversation you should be having more often. And I'm so happy to answer your questions. All right. So we've done the 9th minute in, and yeah, I think I am almost ready to go. Let me do something in a quick bit. My Instagram friends, just give me a moment. I'm excited that you are always here. I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful. So here's where we are right about now. So I'm going to be sharing my screen, even though only people on Facebook can really see. But don't worry, I use my slides to track myself so that I don't stay too long on any point at any point in time. All right. So where am I sharing from? Where is this girl that I'm sharing? All right. So I'm not seeing her just yet. All right. So, okay, she's right here. All right. She's almost here. No, baby. So she's almost here. So let me do this. Cool, she's here. So tonight I'm starting the conversation. All right, this conversation actually came up. Thank you so much. Someone said she's glad to be here. So this conversation actually started out over the weekend, where I had to deal with the fact that every time some parents, especially moms and even dads, hear the conversation about raise a 10 over 10 girl, raise a confident girl who can speak up for herself. It's very easy for people to start thinking that what one is saying is raise a girl who can submit to a man, all right? Raise a girl who is opinionated. And for so many parents, they want their daughters to be married. And every time I say don't raise your girls for more than marriage, people tend to think that what I'm saying is don't raise your girls for marriage, which is not what I'm saying. Obviously, I'm doing this coaching from my husband's home, from me and my husband's home, and I can't start saying don't raise your girls for marriage. All right. I'm not trying to say your girls shouldn't get married, but today I want to walk you through some very dangerous mindset that being so fixated on marriage can cause for our children, the harm that it can cause for our children. And I want to be able to have this conversation so that we get the whole perspective and really have a robust, wholesome conversation. Like, what am I saying and what am I not saying? So tonight, I don't want to just jump up and start talking. Again, that's why I use a slide. I want to just go step by step. I like to always start with my definition of who a 10 over 10 girl is. So if you've been joining us since we started in October, by now you should have been familiar with this line where I say a 10 over 10 girl is a girl who places the right value on God, on herself, on the people around her, and on her environment. She places the right value. She doesn't make anything more important than it should be, and she doesn't look down on anything that she should esteem very highly. For example, I want to raise a girl who is sensitive, who knows when there's a demand for her to do something, and she's not afraid of someone saying she's not good enough. She's not even telling herself she's not good enough. If there's an opportunity, she has a skill, I want her to be able to get up and know that, oh, right now, the environment I'm in has this demand of me to be this kind of person or serve in this kind of way, and they get up to do it. I see too many gifted women, too many intelligent women, including myself, struggle with the sense of value that we place on ourselves. And I'm going to be able to show us where many of these mindsets came from while we're growing up, all right? Too many women struggle with insecurities, a lot more than even men do. I know that men have insecurities, but women's own is at a dimension, all right? So one of the things I want to do is be able to raise children who don't have this insecurity, because I've seen the danger that it brings. I've met people who were really gifted, an opportunity came for them, but they didn't rise up to it, especially women, because they didn't feel confident about themselves. And people who were not even didn't have the resource that they have got up and took advantage of it. So when I'm talking about a 10 over 10 girl, I'm talking about a girl who thinks right, who thinks well, who has the right mindset. She values God like she should. She values herself. When I talk about the people around her, I'm talking about her parents, I'm talking about her siblings, I'm talking about the older people in her life. But she places the right value even on people that are not healthy for her. So if she's exposed to someone who is trying to get her to do something wrong, she doesn't need anybody to start advising her on what to do. I expect her to be able to know that this person seems really friendly, but they're not good for me. They're not good for me. And that's totally okay. So that's what I mean when I say raising a girl who has a healthy sense of self. She has the right value on God and everything. So for me, that's a 10 over 10 girl. So tonight I'm going to be talking about wholesome mindsets for raising girls. You see, I had this question a few days back where someone says, well, I want my child to be confident, all right? Where someone says, I want my child to be confident, I want my daughter to be confident, but I don't want her to start saying now she doesn't want to marry, because when girls become too confident, it becomes a problem. So today I want to walk us through how do you raise your daughter to be confident, but again, place the right value on things like marriage and relationships. How do you go about it? How do you raise your daughter to have self-confidence, but not to the point, I don't even mean to say, but not to the point. Like, you want her to have self-confidence, but not be disrespectful, but not disregard institutions like marriage and stuff. But the truth of the matter is that many times the value that girls place on things like marriage comes from what they see around them. I know girls who say, I saw what my dad did to my mom. I saw what my neighbor did to his wife. I saw what my elder sister husband did to her, and I don't want to get married. So in that case, that girl knows what she wants, but somehow she needs to be walked through the negative impact of what she has seen and how it has impacted her decisions. So right now, however, the conversation I'm having tonight is really about, say, the home is perfect, but you're trying to raise her to be confident, but you just have the fears that no man will be good enough for her. So today we want to explore some of that. So first, I'm going to start with some of the mindset and some of the things that people say that fuel the fear that girls will not, when girls have confidence, they won't marry, or they won't choose men, or they will look down on men, they will disregard the marriage institution and all of those things. I want to explore some of those mindsets in a moment. So the very first thing I have heard repeatedly from the older generation, even from our younger generation, my peers and even people coming, sometimes you hear that when girls are too ambitious, they turn off for men. This mindset is crazy. The reason I say this mindset is crazy is because this mindset is indulging something in some men. Yes, there are men who do not like women who have things going for themselves. And those men are even victims of the stereotype that they were raised in. Many of those men were raised in homes where they told them that a woman should be seen but not heard. So they grew up thinking that, or finding validation in being the only leader in their homes, or in being the only person doing well, in being the only person with dreams and aspiring. And so many times the woman is believed to be, come and support me to be all that I want to be. So the woman supports the man to become all that he wants to be. But the truth of the matter that there's something wrong with that mindset. And that's not what I'm talking about tonight, though. I'm not talking about boys. I'm not talking about shaping how boys think. But what I'm saying is, we do realize that these kinds of mindsets exist, but we cannot continue to indulge them. And off the top of my head, one thing we need to start doing is to start positioning our boys to see that women are individuals like them. And just the way they have dreams, women can have dreams as well. All right. So the problem is not the ambitious girl. The problem is, why is she a turn off to a man? What does a man think she should be that she's rising above? And in that context, it's the man that has the problem, not her. There's something Chimamanda said. She said, the man that would be intimidated by her success is the exact kind of man she doesn't want to be with. Phenomenal statement. Phenomenal statement. So that brings me to the next point, which is that we can't tell girls to stop being ambitious. What we ought to do is to raise the next generation of boys to be comfortable with everybody achieving God's purpose. We need to raise boys to be comfortable. We need to raise boys to be comfortable, not tell girls to not be ambitious. Telling girls to not be ambitious is a wrong dial. I want to give us some perspective. Back in the day, in the older, thank you, Zebra events, yeah, boys are ignored sometimes. Yes. People end up telling girls to tone down so that boys feel comfortable. And that's wrong. What we need to tell boys is to get comfortable with everybody being ambitious. You know, in the olden days, men had this idea that they were the hunters, women should stay back home and take care of kids until they went for war and they died in the war and they left children. Thank you for all the hearts coming from Instagram. Thank you. And they left children for mothers who were not educated, not enlightened to raise children after they died. And so the dynamics changed. I want to say that out here. In order for you to be a parent, you have to be a quality human being. You have to be open-minded. I'm not talking about the open-mindedness that any doctrine flies in your head. You have to be progressive. You have to be able to think. So many times, Dim Dim Cakes is laughing. So many times, when people say, let the woman stay at home while the man goes to work, you find out that the woman stays at home. She's not growing as fast as she should. She's not having the quality information that could help her home, unless it's not always the case though. But what I'm just trying to say is we need to raise a generation that one person doesn't need to be down for the other to be fine. We can do it. We are the parents of this generation, especially for those of us that have the privilege to raise boys and girls at the same time. You need to teach boys to be comfortable with a girl succeeding. There's something wrong. It's like having a close friend who wants to have the spotlight only her all the time. It's sickening. Whether is same sex. I mean, like let me say I'm a girl and my bestie friend wants to have the spotlight but doesn't want me to. You cut them out. It's like a man, you have a best friend and he wants to have the spotlight, just him. You cut them out. So why are we tolerating it in marriages? Why are we telling girls to tone down on ambition? Yeah, we both need to be up. The guy needs to be ambitious, the girl needs to be ambitious. So let's raise a generation that is comfortable with everybody being ambitious. Stop telling girls to tone down. The quality of a partner is connected to purpose. When you meet couples that are at a frequency, many times they're both operating the purpose of God. No one is becoming less for the other. And I'm saying we are the generation that can do it. And I'm going to show you why making sure that your daughter doesn't tone down could be the most life-changing decision you make for her. Making sure that your daughters don't tone down, and making sure that your sons don't expect their sisters or their female friends in class or whatever to tone down could be the best thing that happened to them. So that's the first belief that we have that we really need to work on. When girls are too ambitious, is a turn off for men. The question is, why are men turned off by it? Is it insecurity? What do men need to start doing so that they get a little bit more comfortable with girls succeeding? The second one, all right. Okay, so I think I switched the slides. The second mindset is we say that men need to be the lead in everything, even financially. And I say not true. Men need to provide leadership in their homes, but that leadership doesn't necessarily mean financially. I've asked this question before on my radio show. And you know, I didn't used to know this until I got married to my husband. And when I got married to my husband, he kept telling me, you're called into education. The prospects are huge. The prospects in your industry is bigger than mine. You're going to be far richer than I could ever be, baby. So we're going to push you and support you so you become all of that. When my husband started saying these things, from my own childhood point of view, I was like, this guy wants me to lose this marriage, because I too grew up knowing that if a woman is richer than a man, it can be a problem. And my husband kept on saying, baby, the prospect of the work that you do is huge. I just hope you can see it. Then later on, I realized that when a man and a woman meet, nobody knows whose talent, or even if they know the talent, we don't know the possibilities. So let's say a woman, thank you, Zebra Event, I'm telling you. Let's say a woman decided to go into IT and her husband is a medical doctor. Fine medical doctor, succeeding surgeon, doing all sorts. But the wife is a developer. And she comes across an idea and builds a software platform. I tell you, for the life of me, in 1 year, her work will be capable of bringing far more than her husband's hard-working legitimate income will ever bring. What that means is that men and women need to stop placing the value of what they bring to their relationships in tandem with money. You're not a man because you're the one picking the bills. And that's why I have a problem when women make it look as if the men need to sweep them all off their feet. That's the exact mindset that makes men feel that if I'm picking the bills, you have to shut up. And I'm not talking about being opinionated here. I'm talking about somebody being able to say, I don't care what your dreams are. I want you at home having sex with me, giving me. I mean, I saw a WhatsApp chat like that where a guy said, man, I pick your bills, so you're going to sleep with me and cook for me and clean my room, even though I've not gotten married to you. So my perspective is this. Men need to lead their homes. They lead by being strong examples. They lead by casting the vision. They lead by creating an environment where everybody is enabled to live their lives to the fullest. And they do this by leadership. It's not financial. If by providence, the man's work makes him the financial lead, he understands that that's a resource to grow his family. And remember, his goal is supposed to be to make the home empowering enough for everyone to grow and blossom. It should be our joy to see our partners excel, regardless of the agenda, thrive in what they're called to do. So again, why should you say men, when you say men have the need to lead financially, it means something is wrong with our programming of boys. And we need to deal with that. It's an insecurity, an external validation thing where the man thrives by the woman saying, please, I can't do without you. It's not the right kind of psychology. I can't do without my husband, but it's not a financial relationship. When I say I can't do without him, I like the insight he brings. I like how he gingers me and motivates me to go out and excel. And in this life, nobody is fulfilled unless they live the purpose of God. So when we find men and women in our lives who help us live out that purpose, we build far more quality relationships than when we tie it to finances. So you can't tell your daughter not to go far just because a man feels more secured by leading financially. Well, we're raising a next generation. The generation that will marry your daughter, they don't care. They don't want to lead financially. At the same time, they are not being laid back. They are pursuing their purpose to the fullest, and then they are pushing their partners to pursue the purpose of God in their lives. And wherever the income comes from, they're totally fine with it. There was a generation that used to say that when women own more money than their men, it means the men are lazy. It's not in every case. I made the example of people's career and business pathway and possibilities. So it means that if we want this thing to change, we need to stop telling boys that they owe to carry the whole burden of the world. We need to start telling them to be the best, to work hard, to do their best, to show up, to give their best, right? And to give their partners permission to do same. So telling girls to tone down so that men feel secured is actually patronizing something that needs to be fixed in the boys. And remember, I'm talking to parents. And if I'm talking to parents, I'm talking to the people raising the next generation of boys. And so it means you grab, you can do something about it. And then there's another mindset that says women who choose career over men often end up being single. Again, there's something wrong with this, where a woman chooses career over men. A woman who sees her career as purpose would be able to recognize a partner when he comes. She's not trying to prove a point with the career, right? At the same time, she doesn't need to choose. That's the beautiful part. When you raise your daughters right, they'll probably have a timing of when they want stuff done in their lives. But because the 10 over 10 girl places the right value on God, she will have an anchor that directs her life. When she's at the point where she needs to choose a man, she will know how to Remember, she will not have to choose between a man and a career. A man is supposed to be a part of her life's journey as she moves on in career. It's not supposed to be either or. I see social media posts where a man is telling a girl they've been dating for years, they've done introduction, she got this job with a law firm in the UK, and he's asking her to choose between him or the law firm. There's something wrong with that. So let's stop using it to shoot movies. There's something wrong with asking someone to choose between the career and you, right? It's wrong because everybody's trying to pursue their purpose. So we are in each other's life to see how we help each other achieve those purposes. So as mothers today, you need to stop saying that your brother's wife is too ambitious. She doesn't cook anymore. We are partners. Your brother's wife, if she doesn't achieve the purpose of God for her life, it doesn't matter how she cares for your brother's children or your brother, she will never be okay. So the best thing is for us to partner together so that we achieve purpose while loving and caring for each other and caring for the children God has given to us. And my dear, we use these wicked, mediocre lines to shoot movies. She had to choose between this and this. When she didn't choose the guy, 5 years later, he became an ambassador. Calm down. That's mediocrity. Marriage is where two people called by God to fulfill a purpose come together to create an enabling environment for each other to achieve it. I keep telling people that the first time God met woman, he didn't ask her to marry Adam. The first time God created woman, he asked her to go and dominate alongside the man. He blessed both of them. He said, go into the garden, tend it, keep it, replenish the earth with your kind. He talked about having dominion over the sea, the fish. That means God wanted women to be pilots, wanted women to do so many things. So when they partner up together, they enable each other. They support each other to do stuff. So you need to stop raising boys to say, if you love me, quit. I once had a boyfriend, oh Lord Jesus, who looked me in the face and said, once I hit, you won't be going to school like this and be suffering. And as you see me here, I'm not I can't sew. I cook, I do my best. I mean, I do my best. But when it is book, that's all I have. I feel like that's all God gave me to come to this world. And a man is looking at me and telling me he'll drop me out of school when he has money. And school is my life. Learning is my life. I can't do anything else unless God calls me to do something else and equips me to do it, of course. And somebody is saying, you're going to drop out. You feel? So it means that we need to raise a generation of girls who will never sign up to choose, and a generation of boys who won't ask girls to choose. Because the problem is not wrong that the girl wants to pursue a career. The problem is that the guy cannot see that he's supposed to be a teammate. But also, if you're not raising your girls to anchor in on God and have a relationship with God, they can actually work out on partners that are supposed to help them. That's why the 10/10 girl starts with the God perspective. She has a rock solid relationship with God that she knows when to take a break and when she knows when to accommodate someone else in her space. She knows when to make adjustments. She knows because she has a relationship with God. When we start saying, let our daughters not go too far, we are trying to play God in their lives. Who told you that the man that God has designed for your daughter wants her to be mediocre? Who told you that? Who told you that the man, do you understand? Who told you that the man your daughter, God has designed for your daughter, wants her to be mediocre? Do you get? I mean, so your girl needs to have a relationship with God, and you need to stop playing God. You need to stop playing God in the life of your children and start reorganizing their life so that this doesn't happen, so that doesn't happen. Are you God? I'm telling you that I'm trying to raise two girls, and every time something happens, the Holy Spirit says, I need you to teach her that. I need you to teach her that. I was part of a program. I graduated just this week from a program I'd been on for 4 weeks. for 14 weeks, sorry. And I was trying to tell my daughter that I was wrapping up the program. She's 7. And she looked me in the face and said, Mommy, are you dropping out of the program? Weren't you in the program for a reason? And I told her, no, I'm not dropping out. I'm wrapping up. I'm graduating. That my 7-year-old could understand that I went in for a course for a reason. I'm standing here to tell you that there's a generation of boys rising. I'm just hoping there are mothers ready to raise them, because they will not be mediocre like their fathers were. They will know the purpose of God, and they will know that they need to team up with their women, and for both of them to fulfill the purpose of God. They are not becoming subservient by allowing their women excel. But we as parents need to raise them. We need to raise them. If we don't raise them, we have no excuses, okay? So stop tuning down girls so that boys are fine. Meanwhile, our responsibility is to raise up boys to rise above the examples around them and become everything that God designed for them to be. So my girls are thinking like this, and you want me to tone them down for what? My girls were about 4 years old when I told them they could be president, because I'm not trying to raise a first lady. I'm trying to raise a president, and the man that God has designed for her will totally be fine with them being president. Because what God wants to do in the end times is not a joke. We are salt of the earth. We are light of the earth. And that is not a boy's business. It's a boys and girls business. So God is going to plant our children in strategic places, and they need to be heard. They need to take action. But you keep making it, you keep telling the girls to tone down. Why are you telling the girls to tone down when you're supposed to be telling the boys, we're all meant to shine? We are all meant to shine. The girls are supposed to shine. You're supposed to shine. You don't need her to tone down to be fine. Let me go to the last mindset that we have that is crazy, all right? I mean, somebody just brought Kamala Harris. I'm telling you, the world is changing very quickly. A few weeks ago, Nathaniel Bassey put up a post that he kept hearing in his spirit, Esther. He thought it was about someone until God told him that he's raising Esther's. Early this year, I had a moment of awakening that happened on me late. My husband knew that was what God was asking me to do. My friends around me knew that was what God was asking me to. I didn't know. So in April, it hit me that God was asking me to go raise girls. And that's how my handle across all social media changed. It wasn't spontaneous. It was something that God was asking me to do. And God took me back to how I started with raising my girls and saying, look, I need you to raise me warrior girls that I can use. Then there's another mindset that confident women are unlikely to calm down and make marriage work. Confident women are unlikely to calm down and make marriage work. It depends on who the woman is married to. Right? My husband hates you. It's like maybe he's saying something, he's talking about something, and I go, yes, I think so. He's like, baby, I want to hear your own thoughts. I want to hear your opinion. A confident woman is not likely to calm down. Again, that socialization is what does confidence even mean? She doesn't look down on herself and make marriage work. Does marriage need for her to be insignificant for the marriage to work? No. A confident woman, not proud. A confident woman is someone who has boundaries and respects other people's boundaries. Like when my husband comes back from work, when he's had a long day, I know. So I know when to give him space to relax and stuff. And there are days I come back, I need space. I don't sulk up on him because I want him to. I mean, I don't know. You know that women that have have inferiority complex want the man to feed everything, feed you. You want him to validate you, validate the way you walk, the way you eat, the way you do this. Eventually, you become a leech. But a confident woman knows when to give him space. And so when I see mindsets like this, I know people are just intimidated by the idea that someone can know what they want. It's like going to a restaurant with my husband and he says, baby, what do you want to have? When I first got married, I wasn't a confident woman. So I'll probably say everything you're ordering. Meanwhile, I don't like it. And then one day I woke up and said, Jesus, what does that mean? My marriage has become happier when I started working in confidence, because my husband, for one, was upset by the idea that I wanted to sulk up to him. You know, when he says you're going to be rich, I say, no, baby, you're going to have the billion flow. He will say, me having the billion flow does not stop you from having it. So when I became more confident, where I can give him space, where I don't need him to say something for me to feel good about myself. Like, let me tell you, when I finish dressing up, I don't need my husband to tell me I'm looking good. I'm pretty crazy. That means I'm not a bug. I'm not manipulating him with my emotions because I'm a confident woman. So recipe for me is confident women make happier marriages. They're not insecure. They're not running through his phone asking, who was that? Where did you go to? Who did this? Because we're building our lives too in the process. Confident women are the safer people to be with. Remember, I used confident. I didn't use proud. The difference is a confident woman says, I'm worthy of love, and so is he. God loves me, and he loves this person too. A proud person says, I'm better than. Once a child, so you need to be careful about raising your girls thinking they're better than everyone else. That's smarter. They play the best ball in school. That's where the problem is. That's not confidence, that's arrogance. All right? That's arrogance. So for me, confident women, rock solid, they make the happiest marriages because they're not asking their spouses who, as life is hitting you, is hitting your spouse. You're not asking your spouse to suck up to you and run all over the place for you, because you do recognize that life is happening to both of you at the same time. So when both of you come together, is with mutual understanding, no one asking the other to prove jack. Nobody's proving anything because we are together in this journey of life, all right? So I've been exploring the different really silly marriages, limiting beliefs that we have that stop us from raising our girls to be the best. We then finally, this should be it. There's a saying that a woman should obey her husband. That's what the Bible says. Fantastic. The Bible says we should submit to our husbands, all right? And the Bible doesn't say that our husbands have to be correct for us to submit to them. But guess what? How did you end up marrying someone who needs you to obey him by not becoming who God called you to be? So if that was your reality as a mom, you married a man and he didn't know much, just like you didn't know much. And his idea of you obeying or submitting to him was giving up your career. Girl, you have the opportunity to raise a girl who won't choose a man who would ask her to do that. Stop preparing your children for the reality you lived. Prepare them to be better. Prepare them to do better. If you and your husband didn't know better, he ended up asking you to sit at home and take care of the kids. Why are you preparing your daughters for that kind of reality? Prepare your daughters to choose men who will help them choose what God has called them to. Raise your girls for higher calling so that your daughter doesn't have to be submitting in that way. I'm going to show you how to do that in a few minutes. Yes, Bible says you should submit to your husband, but raise your girls to choose, make this kind of decisions by a different set of choices, by a different parameter. I submit to my husband. Sometimes it's annoying doing it because sometimes I feel like I know this thing. But you know, at the back of my head, I always feel that this guy has insight. And this guy will never ask me to do something that will be detrimental to me. And if my husband makes a mistake, he will own up to it. He will say he's sorry. And I will not rub it in because none of us is perfect. So it means that you can raise a child who marries someone that she's confident that he will not let her shrink just so that he feels good. Then he throws Bible verses around her. So help your daughter to make a better set of choices. You made yours, you're living with them, but you have inside information now on how to help your daughters choose differently. You feel me? So girls are not toning down. Mothers who tone down should rise up and teach their daughters how not to tone down. And I'm going to show you how that will help your daughter make even the right decision when it comes to who they choose to be with. So how do we now raise girls who don't tone down but are eager to get married at the right time, in the right way, capable of choosing the right people? You see all this excitement that you have about your daughters are getting married. It's sweet. It's really sweet when they choose the right people. You know, when the ceremony is over, when the shoebi and the souvenirs are over, you're going to deal with the midnight calls from your daughters. So I want you to pay more attention on the possibility after the wedding than the possibilities before. Forget the pomp and whatever that happens in the wedding. Do you get? How are you going to raise your girls? Because that's the most empowering part. Irene doesn't say girls shouldn't marry. I say don't raise them for marriage. I'm going to show you what I mean. Raise them to be people pursuing the purpose of God. When their mind is on, I'm loved by God, God made me for a reason, I want to live out the purpose of God. When they meet partners, they'll be asking, what is this person's purpose? How am I supporting him? How is he supporting my purpose? Some of us listening to me, you have friends, colleagues who had this mindset when you were much younger, and you see how it worked out for them in their marital choices compared to you who was inundated with the idea of just getting married. They chose differently. They chose with a different set of choices. They have a different set of realities. So, how do we start building this culture in our girls where our girls are confident, but they have the right, they place the right value on marriage? All right. So, number one, you need to drum it to your daughter that God made her and God made her for a purpose. You see, one of the problems I have with Africa is that this is how we tell girls God made you so that he will marry you. What? God made you think that God made your daughter so that a man will marry her? In fact, I've actually heard people say that God made man, woman for man. They have biblical proof. I have Genesis 1:26. The first time God met a woman, he asked her to dominate the earth, dominate the fish of the sea. He gave her and the man the same mandate. So a girl should start working on her purpose before she meets the man. And I'm going to explain it in a bit. So because you're a mother raising children, inundate your children with the idea that God made them and God has a purpose for their lives. Let them be so full of it that when boys walk into their lives, the question is, does he serve the purpose in my life? Because for me, when you're talking to girls about don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex, sometimes you've talked a lot about boys. You've made their whole life about boys. It's difficult for them not to have sex because now the boy you've been preparing me for is showing interest in me. So make it about God made you and God has a purpose for your life. But the third pillar is also that let her know that when God calls you to live the purpose of his life, of the purpose he's called you for, you can't do it alone. So you're going to need a partner. So women can't become everything God designed for them to be alone. They need a partner. Men can't become everything God designed for them to be. They need a partner. See, if boys and girls meet with the idea that I'm looking for someone who will partner up with me to fulfill God's purpose, there won't be domestic violence. People will not choose by people won't people won't do premarital sex because they know that it's God's purpose, God's purpose, God's pattern, and how God wants it done. And what that means is that your boys will place value on themselves and on their destiny, just as they'll place value on the girls they fall in love with. I'm seeing some of my sweethearts here. I'm seeing Wow Yummy Cakes. Thank you for joining us. I'm seeing Vivi. I'm seeing Rosaline Ilu, always around. Thank you so much, ma'am. Who else am I seeing? Okay, I'm seeing Vivian. I'm seeing Lara. Lara de Tukasi. Thank you so much for joining on Instagram. I'm seeing a lot of comments. I want to take a short break now and just be reading some of the comments that are out here. So much is going on here. So I see Ivy Obunde. Ivy said, that's why God is called King of Kings, not King of Kings and Queens. We all have our kingdoms to rule, irrespective of our gender. Confidence makes happier marriages. Very well. And I have someone here saying, great lessons. Stop preparing your children for the reality you lived. Prepare them to be better. Very true. And someone else here was saying a girl should be raised for a higher calling. She doesn't have to choose between the career and the marriage. She can flourish in both. That's the thing. Remember that if your daughter gets married and has children, a husband she caters for, but she doesn't cater for the purpose that God called her for, she's going to be one hell of an unfulfilled woman, bitter, angry. You'll be looking at her and saying, but your husband loves you. I know you see women like that, but you have everything you want, but they are not where they're supposed to be, because God designed us with the intrinsic need to fulfill the purpose He's called us to. Our daughters should be raised to choose husbands who do not need them to shrink for them to be fine. Excellent. Uchechi, thank you for coming in tonight. Someone says, drum it into your daughter that God made her for a purpose. You need a partner to fulfill all that God designed you to be. And I have my cousin, I think, saying you have a point here. Rachel Oigi saying, I'm enjoying this big time. Thank you so much. So let me go back to my screen again. So that way, because you're now telling your daughter that, look, so she started out as a little girl, knowing that God made her for a purpose. She has a purpose. My girls know that when we're here to solve a problem, we're salt, we're light, we're here to make a difference. They get to a certain age, then it starts becoming clear to them that you can't do it alone. But I'm going to show you at what point you can't do it alone comes into place. So how? So let me start. Let your girls know that they were made to fulfill the purpose of God for their lives. Child raising is part of this purpose, but it's not all of it. It is not all of it. Child raising is not all of it. I mean, I'm doing really good with my daughters. And when I say I'm doing really good, it's not perfect, but I'm in the mood to steadily listen to what the Holy Spirit is saying, learn, make adjustment. My girls are good. My girls are pretty much, I like the way they think. But do you know, it is of no use to me and even God for me to raise only two of those girls. But I'm sitting down here today. You're listening to me. You're taking it home to your children. You're going to talk to your colleagues about it. You're going to share about it somewhere. You're going to invite me to speak somewhere at an event where there are hundreds of people. And I pass this message, and hundreds, 200s, thousands of girls will watch these videos today and in the future, and it will shape their lives. The real fulfillment is not in what I do for myself, it's what I'm able to make happen in the world. And that's what happens when women do more than child raising. So child raising is part of what our purpose is, but it isn't all of it. That's why, for instance, in the program Vivian and I are putting together starting next week, we're trying to work with mothers especially about planning. Stop telling me this thing that because of the kids you abandon this. You may not be able to do certain things at the dimension you want to, but there are still things you can do, because we know that your fulfillment in life, after you've had the kids, your fulfillment is also in doing some things that were in your heart ever before the kids came. So we want to help you organize yourself so that you can achieve those things. You get the idea? For me, doing the things I do helps me model to my daughters how to be a great mom and still live our purpose. People look at me and say sometimes, how are you a parenting coach? You run a school, you're on radio. I work all the time. So when do you make time for the kids? Let me shock you. I'm always in the active mode. Like when I'm wearing each cap, I'm in that cap. So when I'm with my daughters, I know when I'm not giving my best and I can rejig. I know when I've not given them enough time. Nothing carries me all the way. So if I'm also with the kids a lot and my ministry is beginning to suffer, I know how to balance out. And I tell you, it's a dance. But I'm passionate about doing it because I want to show my daughters how to do it. You know, many of us grew up where our parents, our mothers particularly, were housewives. Now we have to work, so we don't know how to delegate. Sometimes we outsource about everything regarding our children, and sometimes we shy away from work completely. So the question is, why don't we get the dance right in our generation so that our girls know that? One day my daughter looked at me. We didn't have a maid, and at that point it was such a pressure. I was doing so much, and she looked at me and said, "Mom, is this what it means to be a mother?" And I know that there's a generation that does not like that idea of, oh, because you're the mother, everybody dumps down on you. So one of the things I want to do with my girls is to help them see wholesome family structures where husband doesn't say, you are the wife, you friggin' do everything at home. Where they can share chores, they can start building their children's independent skills so that the mother is not where everybody dumped down on. I want you to start thinking in advance to say, when I do like this for my children, when I live my life like this for my children, what's the message I'm sending to them? Some of us will be shocked what our children picked from the things that we're dealing with. So let your girls know that they were made to fulfill the purpose of God for their lives. Child raising is part of this God's purpose, but child raising is not all of it. See, let me tell you, you're there talking about how you want your child to be married. I want her to be married as well. All right? You see, my people have struck, but don't worry. God passed them. This is Nigeria. And exactly at the right time, we need to raise girls who will invent new electricity. This Nigeria, eh? Where is the rope? One moment, please. So I have a makeshift here while I'm waiting for the light to come on. I hope my people have the initiative to turn on the light, all right? Just give me a moment. So yes, I mean, I'm serious. I want your daughter to be a mom and do the amazing things and be a great mom, all right? But do you know that some of your girls are going to be called into crazy things? Some of your girls are going to be called into nation building. That your little girl at home can be called into crazy to build a business, an enterprise. They could be called to do something amazing in medical sciences. They could be called to do something in art and inventions and politics. And you keep telling her to tone down. Who puts that gift inside of her? That's the question I want to ask. If God put it inside of her, shouldn't that tell you that she doesn't need to tone down? Talking mom stress. Sweetheart, welcome this evening. Do you feel? If God put it inside of her, what is she toning down for? So you need to start asking yourself, what is my daughter made to do? That's what you need to start asking. So let's start focusing on what God has made our children for, both boys and girls. For those of you raising boys and girls at the same time, devote the same energy to nurturing your daughter's talent as you devote to boys, so that your boys get comfortable with understanding that women are born to have purpose, to serve a purpose. Let your primary responsibility be to nurture their talent, their skills, and their uniqueness. Then start shaping their character. It's very critical. Start shaping their character. There's some level, I don't tolerate indiscipline with my girls. We have clear-cut standards. We have things that we get to do. Because in my mind, I feel like, girl, God's going to call you to do something. I need you to be disciplined enough to do it. So when I'm teaching my daughter's time management about going to school and using time well, it's not really about getting to school early. It's about using time well when it will matter. So childhood is where they're practicing and mastering certain gifts. They're mastering certain habits. They're building certain habits, because I absolutely believe that God is going to call them to do great things. So I act it out by what I allow. So, but here's the thing. God's idea of partnership begins from birth. The idea that you won't be able to do it alone begins from birth. So we have to raise thoughtful girls who know that they are not all sufficient. And they are also here to help others. So at home, start building the culture of asking for help. Let your girls know that it's okay to ask for help. But let them also know that it's okay to be the help someone else needs. So for those parents who keep saying, I keep talking about marriage so that my daughter is ready for it. Well, the way God designed the earth, the fact that your daughter will have a sibling that they need help from, who also needs help from them, already begins to demonstrate that nobody will go through life alone. They will need help from time to time. So go home and normalize asking for help. You want to raise a daughter who will be comfortable with marriage, normalize asking for help. Then when you finish normalizing asking for help, normalize taking responsibility. Life is like this. You learn something simple here when you're age 5, and you find out that you needed it when you were age 9. If it's a principle, it will spread itself. Normalize asking for help, whether it's when they're with their female friends, to parents, and all of that. Normalize taking responsibility means you can help another person and you don't need to depend on another person to sort you out. There are times that you do stuff on your own, right? And then there are times that you ask for help, because that's what marriage is. There are times that you should do stuff on your own in your marriage, and there are times that you should ask for help. So don't start talking about marriage and boys straight up. Start building these simple principles. And when it's time for boys, your girls will be ready for that conversation. I hope you do know that already your daughters have a natural attraction to boys. Did you know that? Do you know what that tells me? It means that when they are younger, from when they're teenagers all the way down, we shouldn't be talking to them about boys and marriages, because their hormones are already running riot. You shouldn't be telling your daughters to clean up their room so that they get married. You shouldn't be telling them to learn how to cook so they get married, because their emotions already pulls them to the opposite sex naturally. Don't add to it. But between the time that a child is 0 to 18, focus on building life principles into them. Stop talking about marriages. Stop talking about boys. Stop making it about boys. I don't know if you're following me. Stop making it about boys. Your daughters are already at the age of 5. Your daughter has a crush. Your daughter has a boy she really likes. So don't bring up marriage issues, because it means God has already put an inbuilt stuff about it. Your work is to start giving them the framework for how they relate with all human beings, including the opposite sex. Start with their relationship with their siblings. Let them ask for permission. Let them listen. Let them make it an organized experience where your children know that they are not islands. They can't live alone. Take out this conversation of telling your teenagers to clean up their spaces so that they will get married. Come and learn how to cook so you cook for your children. Damn it! Go and learn how to cook so you can cook for yourself. So you can eat quality food. So you can learn how to organize a treat for yourself. Because from the abundance of what you do for yourself, you'll be able to do it generously for others. So our priority should be teaching our children the principles of life, relationships, living out the purpose of God. That's the priority, not marriage. Then graduate it to their friends. Watch how your girls make girlfriends. The decisions they make around girlfriends. Somebody said, and the ear pulling. Watch how your girls make friends, female friends. You can prepare your girls for marriage decisions by what you say to them about female friends, their same-sex friends. So your daughter has a friend that is always lording over her. Omo, help her see the perspective. Help us see the perspective. Someone has asked a question, Duchess, I'm going to answer that question. Start this in their relationship with siblings and graduate it to friends. Then start talking about boundaries. Don't talk about boys. Don't talk to your girls about marriage. It's counterproductive. I've told you about principles. I've told you about purpose. Watch how they relate with friends so that they start learning about being in relationships and having their voice and opinions. Then take it to the next level. Start talking to them about boundaries. As a child living the purpose of God, there are things that are right for you that you should ensure that nobody violates. This compromising that we talk and say, life, nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. The boy slapped her on a date, but he was kind. He bought her a rose. He spends on her. He takes out her friends. He bought a gift for her mom. Start teaching your girls about boundaries so they know what is right for themselves, and then let them start paying attention to what is right for other people. These are really the raw materials about making marriage decisions, especially when you line them up with the idea that they are God girls. They hear God, they have a relationship with God. Talk to your girls about boundaries, boundaries of what they should not tolerate from anybody. I'm going to say something a bit controversial. Did you know that when you hit your children and tell them you hit them out of love, you give partners permission to hit them and hit them out of love? The day it hit me, I mean, it's my opinion. The day it hit me, and I said, because there's a thing in psychology that says how you do one thing is how you do everything. So when we beat kids and tell them that it's out of love, we actually create a pattern where a boyfriend can hit them and they say it was out of love. It's hard truth. If you like, be saying as a parent you have an upper hand. It's not completely true. So start teaching your girls what is right for them and for others. For example, I will not let any of my children go into the other person's bag, pick their pencil and crayons, and use it without asking. I don't do that thing you say we are siblings, use anyhow, because it's a pattern. They'll go and date someone and take things without permission or allow people access them anyhow. I want them to be conscious of their boundaries and also the boundaries of others. I'm coming to you, Dodger. Someone is really talking on Instagram, and I'm going to address it because that's a real life situation and it's going to help all of us. So raise your girls to own their boundaries and respect the boundaries of others. Prepare your girls for marriage by teaching them about relationships, starting with how they relate with their siblings and then how they relate with their friends. So this is really interesting. During the week, I shared a story about a mother who is indulging her daughter to be in a domestic violence situation under all kinds of guises. And I shared that post on a big group on Facebook. And people are going, God forbid, it can never be me. But somebody right now is on my Instagram handle and talking about how her dad prefers for her to, she would rather be in an abusive relationship, in an abusive marriage, than to be home without being married or being an unmarried single mom. Many times, we want to use our children for status. And she's saying that this father asking her that she'd rather be in an abusive marriage. She's on Instagram now. In case you don't believe me, go to my live thread now, raising-girls.ng, you will see the thread. Her father is a marriage counselor and he's telling her that she'd rather be in an abusive marriage than be an unmarried single mom for status. And you can say, no, Irene, I won't do that. So I'm going to break this table. What do you do for your child to win a prize in school? What do you do for your child to be selected for something? What do you do for status for your kids? Because it doesn't start with the big things, it's a pattern. If you want your girls to be something, by all means. You want your child to win the student of the year. Yeah, you should, but in a healthy way, through the right means. You're compromising here, you're pushing this there, you're pushing this there. You're not allowing your children to experience life, success and failures together and evolve holistically because you want a status thing. We need to think about it by all means. Your children, you want your children to be something by all means, legitimate or not. If you believe that God created them, then give him permission to grow them at his pace. My daughter was student of the year 2 years in a row. I mean, I don't think she has a memory of me making a big deal out of it. I didn't look down on it, but it wasn't something. I mean, I'm looking up at one of her plaques right now, and I would say, baby, you really worked hard. I like the effort you put in there. By the third year, a teacher told her that a new boy had come to her class and he was going to beat her, so she needed to work hard. And I came to school that year and she was third. And she looked at me and said, Mom, was that good enough? I said, it was good enough if you gave your best. Baby, I told her, baby, you can be the best student of the year, but you didn't give your best. So it's not the status, it's who you are. It's the effort you made. I said you could have come third and it was the best that you did and it was great. But did you know that you could also have come third and you didn't do your best? So it's never about the position and the status. My self esteem, woe is in myself. And do you know why it's solid? Because it's not in anything I do. It's not in me doing Raising Girls. It's not in people saying, "Why, Irene, you're really intelligent." Intelligence is a tool. God gave it to you to serve the world with it. Without it, you're useless in the line of God's purpose. So it's not exactly something you did for yourself. But my identity is solid because I'm a child of God. And that's the constant. So just before I wrap up, let me tell you why I don't like girls, little girls, playing with baby dolls. Some people say it's DNA, is DNA manifesting? Nope. When baby girls are born, they see that their mothers tie babies at the back. So they mirror it. Now, and I told you that little girls are already wired to be attracted to the opposite sex, right? So when they now add the drama thing and start playing with baby dolls and tied at the back and stuff like that, you start feeding their imaginations. They start thinking about how their name, their son, another boy's surname in class will sound. If you're a mother listening to me, you know what I'm saying. That the fantasy for marriage starts really early for little girls. And I think that it ruins the entire beauty of the process. That's why for me, I'm reducing it to the barest minimum. So my husband and I told my children that if you want to play at home, no daddy, mommy drama, no baby. So sometimes they do drama about being in the pediatrics. There are doctors that are taking care of babies. I will buy them pampers to tie on the teddy bear and do like, this child is sick. They're doing medical doctor, they're doing emergency, they're doing PJ mask. But the biggest thing for me is I tell them when you're doing your drama play, create a problem and solve it. The other day, my children said they had a play for us. By the time I came, they came out with props, swords, stuff, all kinds of things. So I knew they had been watching Power Rangers. So they built props. That process of building props, thinking and creating is for me a priority. If the games your children are playing don't make them think, it's a waste. That's why I'm worried that when parents go to buy gifts for girls or for children, they buy baby dolls for girls and they buy building blocks, Legos for boys. Do you know what you're doing? You're dumping down on girls. You're toning down the girls so the girls build. Are you saying the girls can't think and the girls can't build with those damn dolls? Don't do that. Don't do that. Let girls grow in the line of the purpose that God has designed them to be. Let them know they have purpose. Let them know they can't do it alone. But let them know that starting with how they relate with their siblings and stuff. Duchess was just saying something right about here. She said, we have a lot to change about how children are raised. He even constantly says that I can never single-handedly raise a child who turns out well without a man. Give your father my number. I'm a girl that was raised by a single mom and I turned out okay. But here there's a point. You can't raise without a man, but the man doesn't have to be the father. So your father is supposed to step up and do what he's supposed to do in the life of your daughter. My grandfather stepped up to do what he could. My mom's brother stepped up. Yes, you can raise a child without a man, but it doesn't need to be the father of that child. That is in a situation where maybe the father is late, or the relationship is over, or the father is not a positive example. I mean, these are the issues, you get? So this is where I wrap up tonight. And I want to see if I have any questions. In the meantime, you need to sign up for One Parenting Plan Away. Vivian Okoye and I are going to be doing something exceptional we're starting next week, Tuesday, I think. We're starting next week, Tuesday, and we're teaming up with people have signed up all the way from everywhere. We have people signed up from Abuja, from the UK, from the US. We have people signed up from Ghana. We have a number of people who've signed up to be a part of One Parenting Plan Away. And what we're trying to do is What we're trying to do is bring parents together and say, look, this thing called parenting, how are we going to do it in such a way that you yourself are fulfilled? That's why we say, get on to live, raising the child of your dreams while living your own life's dreams. All right. We don't think parenting should actually stop you from becoming the best, but we don't think that parenting itself should be done haphazardly because you know you're doing the 21st century reality of working and parenting. So one parenting plan away is for parents who want to get the boogie on while raising kids the right way. You should trust what I and Vivian will put together. It's going to be 5 days of exciting experience, really, really impactful conversations. There's a lot of support tool we're bringing, and this program has the package is supposed to be 112,500 based on all the things we've put in the program. But no, we're giving it away at 20,000 naira. This is the first edition, so that means that's why it's 20,000. So future editions are coming, but they would never be 20,000 again. All right, so this is like 80% off. You get the brilliant opportunity to come in if you register today. If you want to register online, it's very simple. All you need to do is sign up at seller.co/one parenting plan away. 20,000 naira only. I've seen a number of people who are on this thread right now who've already signed up, and I really look forward to welcoming them. One I signed up from Benue. I can see her already. She'll be joining us all the way from Makurdi. It's going to be exciting. It's virtual. It's an online experience, so you don't need to be there physically. At the end of the day, you're not just going to have a plan. You're going to also have how to make the plan work. Yeah, we're going to make sure you find the secret framework, the secret ingredient to making your plans work. And we'll be sharing from how we're able to do all the work that we do and still be engaged in the lives of our daughters and our children. So it's 20,000 naira if you sign up today. You can sign up on seller.co/one parenting plan away, or you can make payment to that account on the screen. I'm going to leave it for a bit while I go through the comments. Okay, so Rachel said the way I was pulling my ear reminds her of her mom. All right, so someone here is echoing that if the games your children play cannot make them think, it's a waste of their time. Did you know? I don't know if you remember when you were a child and you used to do those cooking that we used to do, cooking. You have to plan. Which one will you use as gari? Which one will you use as soup? Any play that does not involve thinking, leave it. All right. So I'm seeing a lot of positive comments here. Oh my God. Thank you so much for your support tonight. I'm so grateful that you all showed up tonight. And I really look forward to seeing you at One Parenting Plan Away, where we can keep it, make it really impactful. I'm grateful to everyone who joined in on Instagram. Whatever you do, it's possible to raise a girl who is confident, but also places marriage in the right place. She has the right value about marriage. The question is how you're doing it. So you can watch this video over and over again. You can watch the replay over and over and over and over. Okay, Rosalind Elu says she got value. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so after making payment, you can DM me. Thank you so much, sis. You can DM me. You can send text messages to this number. I really look forward to welcoming as many of you as possible to One Parenting Plan Away. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be really exciting. You're going to sit down and talk. And one of the things I like about One Parenting Plan Away is you're going to look at your reality. Do you have help at home? Do you work? Are you a doctor? How often are you on call? You're going to look at your own reality and really plan with that in mind. All right. And then you're going to be able to identify where you need help, what kind of help you need, and so on and so forth. OPPA is going to be exciting. It's going to be very exciting. So guess what? Next week is Q&A night. We're going to be closing for the year on the 18th of December with our last story night for the year, girl story night. But next Friday is question and answer night. So I want you to be able to send me questions, DM me, whether it's on Instagram or on Facebook, anywhere you can. Send me so many questions, whether it's on this topic or generally raising girls. Our live story night was super interesting. You can catch the replay on our YouTube channel, on even our Instagram, IGTV. You'll be able to catch the replay that way as well. So our next session is next Friday. We do this every Friday, 7 p.m. So please make sure you have as many friends as possible joining and watching and joining the group and being a part of the conversation. So Q&A night is next Friday. And then on the 18th, we're going to be closing for the year for Raising Girls, right? So that I can go and spend time with my family. Do you understand? Before they go on strike, all right? So we're doing Q&A night next Friday. And the upper Friday, we're going to be doing Girl Story Night, our last Girl Story Night for the year. So I want to thank everyone that came out. Let me look at the comments once again. I see my boss, Ubunaya Okojeke. Thank you so much. We are in each other's life to help each other fulfill destiny. This Obonaya guy chatting right about now is going to be getting married soon. And I'm going to send a shout out to him because he's the kind of man that this generation needs. I see the effort he's making and investing so much heavily in building his wife's capacity. You know, she's doing some trainings for their business that they're going to be doing together. And I'm saying, how can someone then call that girl to ask her to tone down when Ogbonnaya wants to see the light? He wants her to blossom and shine and be the best version possible that God has designed her to be. So don't be afraid. Don't think that when your girl shines, she'll shine too bright. There's a man that can handle it. And there's a man that will fuel that light because in her shining, she will enable him to shine. All right? We need each other. We complement each other. We are partnering with each other to live God's purpose for our lives. So I'm signing out here. Talking Mom Stress, darling. Thank you for hanging out with me. Rosalind, thank you. Duchess, thank you. Ivy Obunde, thank you. Obonaya, thank you. To everyone still watching me right about now, thank you. Rachel, Obidi, thank you for coming. Jennifer, I appreciate you. So I'm just looking through the thread. So many Facebook users because you didn't give StreamYard permission to share your face. Roy, thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate you. Uchechi, thank you for coming. I celebrate everyone out here. Ivy, I appreciate your support. It means a lot. I was wondering where Maome was, and Bill Maome was here, and my half sister Vivian Tamara was here. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you this time next Friday. Leave the comments in the thread. I'll be able to come to them. I'll be able, like questions, I'll be able to answer them next week, Friday. Good night. God bless you.